The Trial of Innocence. The Great Hall of Sentience on Virex Prime loomed like a cathedral of judgment. Cold marble and obsidian arches stretched above a crowd of 10,000 delegates, their faces unreadable, scaled, feathered, crystalline, and faceless. A galaxy of species had gathered not for war, nor peace, but to pass sentence on a child. Alec Thorne stood in the center, small and shivering, dwarfed by the tribunal platform. 10 years old, pale-skinned and dark-haired, dressed in the ceremonial blue of Earth's diplomatic envoy, he barely understood why he was there. His eyes, wide with fear, scanned the towering council seats above him. No one met his gaze. Maria Thorne, his mother and Earth's ambassador, stood beside him, trembling with controlled fury. "This is madness," she said, her voice amplified through the chamber. "My son is 10. He wandered into a temple unknowingly. You call this sacrilege?" The presiding counselor, Zelvier of the Zerati, an insectoid being draped in silver silk, clicked her mandibles. "The shrine of Kolvarn is sacred to 3 starfaring races. Its violation by an outsider, regardless of age, constitutes an offense punishable by law." "He's a child," Maria snapped. "He touched a door. He didn't desecrate a relic, didn't damage anything. And yet you demand his life." "This council does not bend law to sentiment," Zelvier replied coldly. "Earth has been warned before. This is your 3rd infraction in 2 cycles. On Earth, the trial was broadcast live. Billions watched in stunned silence. Families, soldiers, scientists, children Alec's age. Protests had erupted in 20 cities already. But the council didn't care. Earth was a backwater member state, admitted under pressure during the War of Jval, and never truly accepted. The votes came swiftly. One by one, the delegates cast their decisions. Guilty, guilty, guilty. No deliberation, no mercy. Maria dropped to her knees, pulling Alec close. "Look at me, baby. Don't be afraid. I'm here." The execution device descended, sleek, metallic, and personal. A ring of blue energy formed above the boy's head. He whimpered, clutching his mother's hand. The energy hummed, and then he was gone. No scream, no ash, just absence, as if the universe had decided he never mattered. Maria Thorne stood slowly, her face blank, her eyes dry, her voice quiet. "You will regret this." The council adjourned. Already, new diplomatic matters filled their agendas. Alec Thorne was a footnote in their records, a disciplinary measure, a message to a species they deemed reckless and primitive. But Earth heard, humanity mourned, and far beneath the frozen crust of the Arctic, something ancient stirred. Vast hangars came online for the first time in generations. Algorithms began to hum. Power systems, untouched by sunlight, surged to life. Humanity would remember Alec Thorne, and the stars would burn for it. The silence before the roar. The chamber beneath Earth's northern ice hadn't heard a human voice in over a century. Buried deep beneath the Arctic permafrost, it had no official designation, just a code name whispered only among a few in the shadows. Project Timeless. A war relic from an era humanity had sworn to forget. Or so the galaxy believed. Admiral Rikerdale opened his eyes for the first time in 87 years. The cryostasis chamber hissed open, vapor curling around his armored frame. Age hadn't touched him. His hair remained a military crop of silver, his blue eyes sharp and calculating. Implants along his spine reconnected with global command threads, syncing him with Earth's military core. A gentle voice, calm, artificial, spoke. "Good morning, Admiral. The Council has executed the boy." Riker didn't respond immediately. He stared at the ceiling, absorbing the weight of the moment. "They forced our hand," he said finally. "Give me full system status. All Timeless Fleet systems report green. Armada-class dreadnoughts await reactivation. Sleeper AI constructs have passed all integrity checks. We are ready." Above them, the world grieved. Maria Thorne's address at the United Terran Assembly had been broadcast across Earth and every off-world colony. Her face was composed, but her voice shook with grief and fury. "They executed my son," she said. "A child, and they laughed while they did it. We pleaded. We obeyed. We assimilated. For what? So they could remind us we are less. The assembly hall, usually a gridlocked battlefield of politics, sat in complete silence. Maria continued. We were told we were too divided, too emotional, too dangerous. We tried to change. We tried to belong. But they never saw us as equals. Let this be the last time Earth bows. In orbit, the Terran defense grid shimmered with activity. Hidden weapons arrays deployed, and long-dormant shipyards on Europa, Titan, and Ceres spun back to life. The veil had lifted. Earth's restraint was gone. Deep within the Arctic command vault, Riker strode across the bridge of the TNS Revenant, the flagship of the Timeless Fleet. On holographic screens, black glass warships hovered in cryogenic silence beneath Europa's ice seas and buried within Mars' deep rock. They were spectral things, sleek, spined, and wrapped in active camouflage fields. No species had seen them and lived. This isn't a war of conquest, Riker said to his senior commanders. This is justice. No council, no matter how old or proud, will execute one of ours without answering for it. The ship's systems pulsed with energy. Timeless ships, built using hybrid technologies, human ingenuity fused with salvaged alien war wrecks, now awakened with purpose. Earth did not broadcast a declaration of war. No threats, no demands, just a simple message sent across the stars to every council world. We remember Alec Thorne, and in the void between worlds, ancient engines ignited. The first blow, the Galactic Council's core relay station drifted serenely near the Seldarin Nebula, a glowing web of cosmic filaments stretching across half a light year. The relay was considered untouchable, armored, hidden within gravitational folds, defended by 10 Council destroyers, and surrounded by quantum distortion fields. Nothing had breached it in 2,000 years. Until now, at 0400 Galactic Mean Time, the stars blinked. The Timeless Fleet arrived. They did not warp in. They did not announce themselves. They simply appeared, 30 vessels sliding silently from null space, their hulls black as void, absorbing all detection. Council Commander Thurkal of the Velkarin barely had time to shout before his command ship fractured. A beam of silver-blue light tore through its spine, bypassing shields, slicing through hull and core like it was made of paper. Then came silence. The humans didn't fire again. They didn't need to. Within 90 seconds, all 10 Council destroyers were disabled. Not destroyed, but suspended. Temporal Lancers, a weapon unique to the Timeless Fleet, had frozen them mid-thought. Time itself had fractured within each vessel. Crews stood frozen in motion, expressions locked in confusion or fear. To the rest of the galaxy, they had simply stopped existing. Human warships surrounded the relay and shut it down. Across the galaxy, Council communications stuttered and collapsed. Dozens of systems lost contact. High Command panicked. Military intelligence suspected a massive AI uprising or a temporal anomaly. Only one transmission confirmed what had really happened. A single human voice. Calm. Measured. This was your warning. For the life you ended, we strike without rage. Without pity. You taught us mercy has no place here. We will not destroy what does not resist. But if you stand in our way, we will erase your history. The message was signed with 3 words. For Alec Thorne. On Council worlds, the public reeled. Civilians whispered of human vengeance, of the ghosts from Earth. On backwater planets, posters of Alec's face began appearing beside the burning sigil of the Timeless Fleet. In slave colonies and border outposts, whispers spread like wildfire. The humans are coming, and they fight for justice. The Council convened an emergency session for the first time in 1,000 years. Some demanded escalation. Others, silence. A few, very few, advocated negotiation. But they were outvoted. Arrogance still ruled, and Earth had counted on it. In hidden shipyards, more timeless vessels stirred. Not thousands, not tens of thousands, hundreds. Each one a relic of a humanity that had prepared not for war, but for humiliation. Earth had always feared this day. Not because it was weak, but because it knew what it could become when pushed too far. Alec Thorne had been the match. Now the galaxy was ablaze. Underscore underscore. Would you like to move to Chapter 4 or develop a short interlude or perspective from the Galactic Council side next? For O, you said, construct Chapter 4 with 500 words and clear, focused narrative. ChatGPT said, here is Chapter 4 of your HFY story, Galactic Council Killed Human Kid, so Earth unveiled its timeless fleet, continuing with a clear and focused 500-word narrative. When stars yield to fury, Virex Prime skies turn black, not from storms, but from the shadows of ships, thousands of them. The timeless fleet had arrived in full, encircling the capital planet of the Galactic Council like a noose of obsidian steel and quantum fire. The orbital defense grid activated automatically. Batteries powered up, starfighter wings deployed. The Council still believed in its supremacy. Until the humans spoke. Maria Thorne stood aboard the TNS Revenant, flanked by Admiral Riker Dale and a holographic council of Earth's global leaders. She wore black. A pin of her son's initials, AT, was the only adornment on her coat. She stared into the main view screen, where the faces of the council stared back, some terrified, others defiant, all silent. You murdered a child, she said. You erased him from existence to send a message. Now hear ours. This galaxy will not belong to tyrants any longer. Zelvier, the Zerati judge who had ordered Alek's execution, hissed from her seat in the Grand Chamber. This is madness. Earth defies the law. Your law, Maria cut in coldly. We no longer recognize it. The human fleet moved, not with brute force, but terrifying precision. Entire orbital batteries deactivated as neural suppression pulses disabled their command AIs. Council fleets, massive, centuries old, began to crumble as localized space-time distortions rendered their movements sluggish, predictable. Then came a logic cascade bombs. No explosions, no fire, just silence. Thousands of automated defenses, satellites, and even command ships simply stopped. Their programming overwritten by quantum logic strings seeded into galactic networks years ago. Earth had prepared not just for war, but for domination without destruction. Within an hour, the Council's planetary defense grid collapsed. Riker turned to Maria. They're open. Maria gave one final offer, broadcast across every corner of Council space. Step down. Dissolve your corrupt hierarchy. Build something better. With us. Or fade into history like the tyrants you've become. Half the Council surrendered within minutes. The others, those who had ruled for eons with absolute control, resisted. Their command ships charged weapons, fled to hidden strongholds, or tried to bargain too late. They were the first to be erased. No glory, no grand battle. The timeless fleet eliminated them in silence. Maria watched the chaos end. Her expression was unreadable. Justice had been served, not in the form of vengeance, but transformation. 3 days later, the new accord was signed. Earth, along with liberated species long suppressed by the Council, formed a new interstellar charter, one based on equal voice, protection of life, and binding accountability. Alec Thorne's name was etched into the founding pillars of the accord. Statues of him rose, not just on Earth, but on alien worlds that had known only silence under the Council's rule. And from that day forward, every child, human or not, was taught a lesson in every school. One life can change the stars.